Hello and welcome back to the channel. Currently it is 5:43 a.m. Friday, September 19th, and we are back at it. Yesterday on the stream, it was, let's see here, it was day 33. If I go into the playlist at BridgeMind here, you can see day 33 of Vibe Coding an App Until I Make $1 Million. And we had a breakthrough yesterday on stream, and I'm going to be talking about it today and showing you guys what we built on stream yesterday. But something that I want to show you guys is if you look at the timestamp of this stream, I just want to share something with you guys. So yesterday we streamed for 3 hours and 37 minutes, and for the first 3 hours we struggled through essentially bugs, errors, and our features that we were building, which was the YouTube thumbnail generator that you saw in the last video, and actually getting that to work. We struggled through it. We pretty much failed, and we tried, and we tried. And then after about 3 hours, we finally made a breakthrough. And this breakthrough, and I'll explain this breakthrough in a minute. If I go to Foul AI here, we're going to talk about it. But this breakthrough actually solved more than just a singular problem. It solved several different problems, because what we were struggling with is we were struggling with being able to get that agentic functionality to work that I shared with you guys. And it turns out that the functionality that we built yesterday with the YouTube thumbnail generator actually solves multiple problems, because yesterday in our stream we learned a little bit more about the Foul AI API. I'm going to share with you guys a little bit about what we learned and kind of summarize some of the functionality that we built. But before we get into that, I just want to go back over here. 5:45 a.m. I've already been up for 45 minutes, and I just want to share with you guys something that if you're out there and you're watching this video and you're thinking about your life, something that I want to share with you is that consistency and character is everything. Consistency, character, self-discipline, and I am a true believer in consistency, character, and self-discipline. And something on this journey of Vibe Coding an App Until I Make $1 million is that I must be consistent. And I must do that because that's fair. That's only fair to myself, and it's only fair to the people that watch. Because if people are watching, if they're paying attention, then it is an error on my part if I were to not live a life that had very sharp regimented behavior, because that means that you can actually maximize your potential. Life is the ultimate video game. Life is, if you think about, virtual reality, this is the ultimate virtual reality, and you cannot waste it. So with that being said, let's just dive into what we built yesterday, and I want to share with you guys what we actually learned about image generation using nano-banana, and a very key thing that we learned. So to do that, let's go over to the Foul AI dashboard, and I want to share with you guys, in this dashboard, you're able to see the most recently used models and some of your usages. And if you guys notice, so it says recently used, and there's two models here that I want to draw your attention to. So there's the Foul AI nano-banana model, and then there's the Foul AI nano-banana edit model. And there are very big differences between these two models. So if I go over here to my dashboard and I scroll down a little bit, what you guys are going to notice is that yesterday we actually built this feature live on stream. And we built this feature so that you could generate thumbnails. So let's go over here, and you can see that the prompt to create this thumbnail was to create the thumbnail for day 70. Revenue is $1,500. And what we're trying to do with this thumbnail, and we're going to continue to work on this in Saturday and Sunday stream as well. We're going to move on to some other features as well, because we have a lot to build. But with this feature in particular, what we're trying to do is we're trying to make it so that users can actually drop in reference images. So you can see here what we built on stream is I'm actually able to pass in reference images. So just by dragging and dropping, I'm able to then reference this image. You can see down here, it's added to my prompt. And what we were doing is we were essentially adding this image, and this is essentially just an image, for example, like here, day 33, $51.19, right? Here's the thumbnail. And what I was trying to do is I was trying to drop this in and then give it new instructions, like saying, hey, I want you to now change this to day 70, and I want the revenue to be $1,500. So what the intended output, what we wanted was something that would end up looking like this here, where it would keep everything the same consistency, same aspect ratio, which was 16:9, or I think it's like 1280 by 720 or something like that. But you can see here, day 70, $1,509, right? That was the end goal. Not released, but not for this prompt, but for another one. So you could see that originally, this is what was happening is I was passing in this image, and obviously you can tell that it wasn't taking in the image as reference, and then it also was not giving us the correct aspect ratio. So it was frustrating because essentially on stream, what was happening is I was getting very frustrated because I was saying, hey, I'm passing in the image and I'm passing in the aspect ratio. Why is it not taking this image in as context? And also, why is it not doing the correct aspect ratio? And how we ended up learning what was going wrong is we actually went into the FAL AI playground. And in the playground, you're able to check out the schema. So here is the actual schema here of of the tool. So FAL AI nano-banana. So text to image is what this is. And you can see here that for text to image, you only pass in a prompt. And to go another step further on that, you not only pass in a prompt, but you also don't actually pass in an image, and you don't pass in an aspect ratio. So what we learned was that this text to image model is very, very limited. Like, you cannot pass in any images as reference, and you also cannot pass in any aspect ratios. And what we learned is that the correct model to use was this image editing model. And with the image editing model, how it works is you're able to pass in a prompt, and then you're also able to pass in reference images. So that's very, very important to note, is that there are significant differences between nano-banana edit versus nano-banana normal text to image. Because if you want to edit an image or pass an image in as reference, you can't do it. You literally cannot do it with the normal nano-banana model, no matter what you do. It's a limitation. So please note that. So the reason that this was coming out, the aspect ratio is here is 1:1, is because nano-banana, the text to image model, only generates images that are 1:1. But with the image editing model, or the edit model here, it actually, if you pass in a 1:1 image, like a 1024 by 1024, it's going to output a 1024 by 1024. And if you pass in a 1280 by 720, it's going to output a 1280 by 720. So what we saw was, hey, if we want to integrate this feature, and if I pull up the code here, we actually need to change to use this nano-banana edit model. And up to this point in the project, we were only using the text to image model. And if you guys remember from the day 32 stream, we were working on that agentic functionality, and I was like, guys, why is the reference image it doesn't even seem to be taking them in? And why are the images so inconsistent with what I'm trying to do? And what I learned is that in yesterday's stream, we finally found the answer to this. So in today's video, what we're going to be doing is we're actually going to be going and revisiting the agentic functionality. But before we do that, I want to show you guys how this works. So let's now actually pass in that image for day 33 as reference. Well, we already have it, I guess, so we'll just leave that in. And then I'm going to say, update the thumbnail to be for day 100. Revenue is at 15,000. So let's do this, and let's see what happens. So you just click create, and it's going to show a nice skeleton loader. And as we discussed in the last video, the reason that I'm so excited about View Creator is because it's in a space that's actually relatively new, where the speeds of content generation and the costs are coming to an inflection point, and the quality. It's like these three things that are all getting better, and that's when you know it's a space that you want to be in. So here we are. Here's what it gave us. Day 100, 15,000. Goal is $1 million, and it hit it right on point. So it creates 3 variations, and I have to say, on stream, when I finally figured this out, I felt amazing, guys. And there's no better feeling than working on a feature and not only getting it working, but then understanding what you did differently so that you could then implement it further in your project. So with that being said, let's actually start coding. And in this video, as you can see from the title, we're going to be coding today with Cursor Claude-4-Sonnet-1M thinking. So this is a model that gets talked about a decent amount. So it's the Claude-4-Sonnet thinking model with 1,000,000 contexts. So it is a little bit expensive, but because we have the Ultra plan, we're going to use it today. And what we're going to use it for is we're going to now use it for this agentic functionality. So if I go to create agent here, so with this agent, you're able to craft an autonomous teammate for your next workflow. So let's say that you want to actually create a robust workflow so that you can create automated steps to create, let's say what we're going to be doing, we're going to be creating an agent that's able to create motivational post content. So let's do motivational slideshow creator. That's going to be the name of our agent. And the main instructions for this agent are going to be, actually, let's take a step back. Actually, let's create the agent first, and then we'll start testing. So main instructions, I'm going to put in here, I'm going to say, your job is to create slideshows for Instagram of motivational content. For each step of the workflow, you must stay on theme. The content must be consistent and high quality. Okay, so step one, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to have it generate a image. So we're going to go to create image for this one, and I'm going to ask it, I'm going to say generate a captivating hook slide with a motivational quote that is similar to the referenced image, but with a completely new inspirational quote. So we're going to put that in, and we're actually, I think in Finder here, I have some motivational images here. Let's find them. So they're in my screenshots here somewhere. Yeah, here they are. So we have these 3 images. So for example, here's what we're going to be doing. So you can see here, here's one, and it's like fear less, do more, right? So it's this content that is essentially, here's another one. So 1 step back, 2 steps forward, and then another one would be bold every hour, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to try and create a agent that's able to create content just like this. Because if you have an Instagram account and you want to succeed, it's known that, hey, to succeed, you need to post very similar and consistent content so that you have an audience that knows what to expect. So we're going to drop in that image as reference. I just attached it to that. And then step 2, we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to say generate another image with a motivational quote that is similar to the referenced. Actually, we're literally just going to do the same exact thing, but without the hook slide. Generate an image. Okay, so we're going to do that. Create image, and then we're going to upload a reference, and then we're going to pass in this new theme here. And then we're going to add a step, and we're going to do one more, and I'm just going to copy. I want my slide to have, I want my agent to be able to create 3 images, essentially, that are all different. So we're going to do these, and then we're going to do one more step, and the last step is to create a description that is inspiring to the user and properly flows with the images in the post. So our last thing is going to be to create that. So I'm not going to upload any reference. I could do a TXT reference, but we're not going to do it. So let's create this agent. So all I have to do is click create. And here is our motivational slideshow generator. So if I go back to the agent page, what you can see now is I now have one agent in my account. It's a motivational slideshow generator. And if I click run agent, it takes me to the agent run page where, you know, the description and all my steps are defined. So this is an agent with 4 steps. It's gonna cost me 60 credits to be able to run this agent. And now that we've created this, let's actually start coding. And there's a couple things that I know that we're going to need to do. So first of all, based off of, we actually made a little bit of an error here. If you guys see, you probably noticed it before I did. But here, we need this to create an image. So let's save that. And then looks like, okay, able to execute. looks like there's a little bug there coming out of, there is a redirect bug, but we'll fix that off stream. So let's go back to agents, go here. Okay, so basically what we want to do is we now want to ask Claude-4-Sonnet to take a look at this page. So I'm going to drop this page in as reference so that it knows what page we're talking about. Take a look at the functionality on this page and note that we need to change the model that is used for image generation from nano-banana to nano-banana edit, just like the functionality in the thumbnail generator does. So if you take a look at the thumbnail generator logic, you'll see that it uses the correct nano-banana model that we want to use. It's this one. So I'm going to pass in just a short, brief introduction to what we want to do, and I'm going to pass in the model here as reference. And then I'm going to say, what I need you to do is update the agent functionality so that when the purpose is create image, that it is able to correctly pass in the referenced image as well as the prompt and generate an image based off of those things. Take a look at the YouTube thumbnail generator service as reference, as the YouTube thumbnail generator service integrates with this nano-banana edit model very well. So review that logic and then update the logic of running an agent so that it matches that logic and is able to take in the image as reference, and also create a robust system prompt so that there is good, essentially, like, for example, there's reference images and there's a prompt. The agent should kind of have the ability to creatively come up with content for itself. So it could be instructed, it should follow the prompt, but if prompts are open-ended, the agent should be able to have some creativity and come up with interesting new content. It shouldn't all be the same when I'm running the agent. I want the agent to have pretty good creativity, so adjust the temperature respectively. Okay, so there we go. Drop that prompt in. And then the last thing that I want to do is I actually want to paste this schema in. Here's what it looks like with Pretty Print. OpenAI 3.0. Interesting. All right, so we're going to paste this in now. By file AI for reference. So I'm going to pass in this reference of the schema. And what I'm doing is I'm making sure that the model, Claude-4-Sonnet-1M, has all the context that it needs. This is a high context model. So, with that being said, you're able to drop in all of this context to create what you want. So here we are, motivational slideshow generator. Let's start off with just this feature. We're going to launch this and we're going to run that. And while that's running, something else that we want to plan out is we want to update this description logic so that if the purpose of a agent step is to create a description, then it needs to be able to have access to the previous run steps and review the images and then be able to create a description based off of those images. So let's now open up another chat, and I'm gonna do just a Control T here, and I'm gonna now pass in this page, and I'm gonna say, please review the logic. Actually, somebody in chat, yeah, look, it removes the pleases. When you use Whisper Flow, it literally removes anything that is not required for it. So if I say please, it's just like, yeah, you don't need to enter that into the AI. So that's nice. One nice thing about Whisper Flow, I'm not affiliated with them in any way. I just like to use it. So review the logic. Take a look at the create description logic. Right now, it is not functional. If you look at the back end, or if you look at the entity of agent steps, you'll see that it has a purpose. And one of the enums for this is to create a description. If the purpose of an image is to create, or of a step is to create a description, then it needs to properly integrate with the OpenAI service to be able to create that description. And it's important that, for example, the description has as much access to the agents running as possible. So for example, let's say that the description is on step 4. It needs access to what was created on step 1, step 2, and step 3. So think deeply about how we could construct this. Don't update the entities at all, only the API. Please review this in depth and properly create description logic. So that may work. Let's go back here. It looks like we had, what's nice is in Cursor, there is a setting to turn on so that if you're running multiple agents at once, so that when one agent finishes in another chat, I don't know if you guys noticed that, but it made a little chime. There was a chime that let me know, hey, just so you know, this is, happening. So let's see, it says, let me update the agent functionality using an edit model with proper image handling and enhanced creativity. I'll start by updating the DTOs in service. So right now it changed to use this, so it has this generate image functionality, and it's using the FAL AI service, and then it looks like it passes in the generate image DTO. So let's look at the generate image DTO real quick. I think the generate image DTO is here. So base generation, the prompt, negative prompt, number of images, the aspect ratio, the guidance scale. So something that we want to change is that we right now have this baseline functionality for image generation, and something that I don't like that it did that we're going to change is that it used the FAL AI service. And this is something that we ended up having to do yesterday as well. So think about this. Think about this FAL AI service, which is great. You have all these functions in here that have repeatable use cases to create, there's literally a function in here to generate an image. So anytime that I need to generate an image, I have this DTO. But the problem that I noticed, and I don't know if you guys picked it up as well, but the DTOs are going to change based on the model that you're using. So like I said, and I'll show you guys over here in the nano-banana model. So the DTO on this nano-banana edit model is going to be different than the text image, because with text image, you don't pass in aspect ratio, you don't pass in a reference image, you don't pass in a bunch of things. So something that we need to note is, hey, we're going to need to make this a little bit more customized. And to do that, instead of importing the FAL AI service into the agent service, what I want to do is I actually want to stop importing that and using it. I want to build custom logic in my agent service instead of reusing one singular function in the FAL AI service. Because let's say down the road, if we ever need to change that FAL AI service and it's connected to all these different pieces of functionality, like let's say that we used the FAL AI service for the YouTube thumbnail generator, and we were using it for this functionality here for the agent image generator. If we ever changed or had to change that function, it would be an issue. It would impact the entirety of the app. So I actually want to make it so that the agent functionality has that functionality, not importing the generate image function from FAL AI service. So let's do that. Something that I don't like is that the agent service imports the FAL AI service and uses that generate image logic. The problem with this is that if we use this function too much in our application, then this function is going to have a ton of importance, and we're not going to be able to change it that much because so many things are going to depend on it. Also, depending on the model that's being used, the DTO of the image generation actually changes, as you can see from the schema. So something that I want you to do is I actually want you to remove the import of the FAL AI service and the use of that generate image functionality from the agent service. I want to build the functionality for image generation for the agent inside of the agent service itself. So please review how it's hooked up currently and refactor the code to build completely new functionality in agent service, just like the YouTube thumbnail generator service does, where it defines and connects to the FAL AI API inside of the service itself. And look at the approach of the YouTube thumbnail generator service and follow it, because the YouTube thumbnail generator service is really powerful because it properly integrates with the edit model. And right now, I don't want to reuse the FAL AI service in my agent service. So please refactor the code, rebuild the functionality so that the agent service contains the logic for the image generation. All right, so we're going to enter that. And also, just to improve it, I'm actually going to pass in the entirety of the YouTube generator, and I'm going to pass in the entirety of the FAL AI, and I'm also going to pass in the entirety of the agentic here, and then also agent tools and agent runs. So that has all the context of that. And then just as reference, in case it does not see it, we're also going to pass in the agent run, the agent run step, and the agent step. So we're going to pass in a ton of context into Claude-4-Sonnet-1M, and that's one benefit of using Claude-4-Sonnet-1M is that you're able to pass in so much logic. It's able to take in so much context. So it says, you're absolutely right. This is a much better architectural approach. Let me refactor the agent service to have its own direct FAL AI integration following the same proven patterns as the YouTube thumbnail generator service. So it's going to remove the FAL AI service dependency from the agent service. It's going to implement direct FAL AI client integration in agent service. It's going to update the image generation logic to use direct FAL API calls. It's going to update the agent tool service to remove FAL dependency. So this is exactly what we wanted. This is the direction that we want to head. And, just to reiterate that approach, so if I go to the FAL AI API and I go over to Explore, something to note is that if I scroll down, there's all sorts of models that we can connect with. And there's the reason that I chose this for View Creator is because let's say down the road, let's say that OpenAI outcompetes Google. Let's say they create a model that is cheaper, faster, and better than nano-banana, which they definitely can do. Well, we want to provide that model to our clients, and we're going to be able to do that very quickly. So if there's models that are incredible that people are excited about, what FAL now allows us to do is integrating with FAL, we only need one API to integrate with all these different models, which is great. We can integrate with audio models, we can integrate with image models. So that's what I want to emphasize is, for example, Flux Pro. Let's just click on this one. So something to note is that if I do show more, these models have completely different schemas. This one, you're able to send an aspect ratio, you're able to ask for the number of images, you're able to provide a guidance scale, you're able to turn on sync mode to true or false, and you're able to enhance the prompts. There's all these different things that are, that we can send in our requests. So that's another reason that I wanted to change from using that base level FAL AI service. And the best approach is actually to probably have a FAL config file, and we will do that. We'll refactor our approach. So what we're going to have to do is, because we're going to have a pretty large FAL AI integration, what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to create a FAL AI config file so that for every module and service that actually integrates with FAL AI, we're just importing that singular FAL AI config instead of writing another configuration logic to integrate with FAL in each of these files. Because at the top, if we go to the code, it is going to have like a little integration. So it's here, config service, constant FAL key, config service.get FAL API key. So you can see that, it's using, it has a little config service here at the top, and we're going to want to change that. We're going to want to, have a configure file that already has that built, so we can just easily configure it in one file. And then if that ever needs to change for whatever reason, like let's say we need to add in fallbacks or whatever, we'll be able to do that very easily. So it said, perfect, I've successfully refactored the agent service architecture following the YouTube thumbnail generator pattern. Okay, so now that that's done, I think that that's going to work. So we're now going to submit this agent, and we're going to build out that description logic. But while that's going, let's actually test the agent. Let's run this for 60 credits and see what it's able to do. So here's step one. Looks like this finished down here. Okay, so yep, that's good. So step one's running, and that's pretty good. Rise, strengthen, conquer. And what's great is that actually did, you can tell, follow the, it's not, the text isn't great. I don't like the text, but it did follow the service. Okay, so this is not great. This is just a first iteration, but what you guys are seeing is that, for example, if we didn't use the, if we weren't using the edit, it would give us a completely different different logic for this. But for here, the important thing, if you guys notice, is, oh, it looks like, did this finish? Okay, H model. So we're going to update this, and the description didn't get created, so we're going to have to work on that as well. But I'm not a huge fan of how it used all the different text The text was different, but something that is huge is that this is a significant improvement than where we were at just a little bit earlier. Because, for example, if I find where is the actual agent that's used, let's look up. If I go to the DTOs here, what is it? It's the foul. Okay, let's just look up. Let's do a Control F for nano-banana here. Not in here. Is it in agent tools? It should be connecting somewhere in here. Nano-banana, is there no? Let's try this. Let's do nano. Okay. So watch this, guys. So something I want to show. So it has, constant selected model, right? So let's change this, and I'll show you guys essentially what we were dealing with earlier. So let's change this, and let's actually take in the edit. And while this isn't perfect, this is a first iteration. I didn't expect to one-shot that and have a perfect running agent. But I want to show you guys the improvement, and this goes to show, how much progress we actually made yesterday on stream. So I just removed the edit, and what we're going to do is I'm going to wait for this to finish off here. So, okay, so we're going to be able to test this, and we're going to be able to test the description logic that was just created. But let's run this again, and now I'm not using the edit functionality. Now, it could fail because it has some different logic in it, but now it's going to use that just the nano-banana model. And this is where we were at, literally, with when we were just using the nano-banana model. So you guys can see the significant difference between the nano-banana edit model that we used in that last agent run, and then the nano-banana model edit, or the nano-banana model text to image that we were using just now for this agent run, is that it doesn't take in reference images. It generates a 1024 by 1024 no matter what, and it's terrible. It's not good. So definitely something important to note, and I see that the video is already 31 minutes long. So if you guys haven't already liked and subscribed, make sure you do so. But you can see the significant improvement just by changing that model, because when you change that model now, let's go back to edit, and let's do another run. What you guys are going to see is that we're going to be back to being able to actually reference that image. And it's not perfect. We're going to work on it. We're going to work it seemed to me like it was not following the text, and also a lot of the text was misspelled. So we're going to have to improve our system prompt. But here you can see that, hey, it actually is taking in the reference image, obviously, because, this was, if we go back to, I'm just going to do a little quick copy and paste here. If we go back and we drop this in and we pull up our edit, what you're going to see is that, yeah, this is what we had, and then what was created this here. So, fear less, do more, start now, do more. So, that's what we want our agent to do. And what we're also going to add in later videos is we're going to want to make sure that we can drop in multiple images at once. So instead of just having one template to choose from, like here, it's essentially an exact replica. Hey, it's the guy standing in the middle. It's like kind of a silhouette. We're going to want to be able to take in multiple to choose from. Essentially like, hey, here are multiple different presets. Choose one, edit one. So we made progress on that. We're not going to be able to polish up the functionality in this video just because we're already at 33 minutes, But here, let's go down. Let's finish this functionality down here to at least get it working. It looked like it did not. The image generation failed here. So, okay. Please review the error here that happened with the description step and evaluate it and fix it. Okay. So here we should get this working. It looks like it said the logs here are that max tokens is not supported. So it did incorrect schema there. And it says the newer models require max completion tokens instead of max tokens. So let's try that. Yeah. So this is using the OpenAI service. So essentially for image generation, we integrate with FAL, and then for the generation of the descriptions or titles, we're going to use GPT-5 just because GPT-5, in my opinion, is the best LLM model or text image or whatever it's called on the market. So really good. But yeah, we can run this agent for 60 credits. So it was a 400 error. Let's now run this again to see if we can get this figured out. So you guys can see some of the logs down here. You can see that with the logs, it passes in, it says model, foul AI, nano-banana. Oh, this one was actually a lot better. Rise, risk, grow, and shine. That's interesting. That's actually very motivational. Risk, grow, shine. Okay, so that's good. And then here, actually, the the misspellings we're gonna have to take a look at, but for the most part, pretty good. Yeah, we'll definitely have to revisit the functionality. And then it looks like the description was generated, but on the front end, it did not actually output it. So the description says that it was generated successfully, but on the front end, I'm not able to see it. Please review the page and update the logic so that I'm able to actually see the description that's generated on the front end. Let's drop that in, and then I'm also going to provide a screenshot. Boom, boom, boom. Screenshot, and then screenshot all that, and then paste it in. Be able to figure it out relatively quickly. All right. Oh, it says the description field is 0, so it actually said that the OpenAI API is returning an empty response. So that's actually the problem, not anything on the front end. So that's good that it caught that. All right. So what do you guys think of the agent? Because in the last, I think it was the day 32 stream, when we were using that nano-banana model, text to image, you guys saw from the example that I showed in this video, the images are so low quality. Like if you want to generate text to image, you actually have to create such a descriptive prompt. Like your prompt needs to be spot on. Like to show you guys that, I actually have an example in our, let me find it here. It's in another account that I have, so let me pull that up. But like if I go over here to this account, I have a couple templates in this account. So for example, like these are all using the text to image. So these are using the text to image. And just an example, let's use this one. Let me zoom in here now. Let's generate 3 images. And here's the prompt that it has. And it's a pretty large prompt, right? And now what we know is that because we're using nano-banana, we're not using text to image, our prompt has to be exact because it's only using the prompt. And I mean, it's pretty good, but it's using a huge prompt and it's not actually taking in the reference images. So we're actually gonna have to go back and review that functionality as well. But for now, let's just keep focused in on this video on this agent functionality. But definitely something to note that, hey, that template functionality we have is also using that logic. So we're gonna have to fix that as well. Let's see here. So the UI only displays image artifacts, not descriptions, title artifacts. So that's one thing to fix. And then also the OpenAI service is returning an empty description. So that's another thing to fix. Where are we at on video time? Let's see here. I think we're probably at like 40 minutes, right? 37 minutes. All right, we'll wrap up here shortly. I think this is going to work. So found 3 errors. Let me check. Running lengths. What do you guys think of the Claude-4-Sonnet-1M model? I think it's pretty good. All right, there we go. Fixed. So now let's do a quick refresh, and then let's run the agent again. The image generation here is actually relatively fast, like how many, probably at what, 10 seconds to generate an image. Oh, this one's really good. The only limit is you. It's so true. I love motivational content. The only limit is you. And what's cool is that it actually did follow our prompt. Like if you guys remember what our prompt was, oh man, this failed again. Failed again, guys. This failed again. Okay. All right. Let's try this again. We may need to go to the docs real quick or something. Because something to note, a limitation of like the Claude-4-Sonnet-1M model is that it doesn't have it. Like if you guys notice, it didn't access the internet to check, hey, what's the schema for using GPT-5? It didn't do that, and that's one drawback. That's one area where GPT or OpenAI is just way ahead of any of the other models. Is that it searches the internet very reliably. This agent isn't great in its reliability of the text. So, we may need to add an extra planning step in terms of like, hey, what actually is going to go on the image? What do you want on the image? But for now, it's enough progress in terms of switching to use that edit model that I'm happy with it. So let's see now here, step 4. Cross your fingers, guys. Man. Okay, so let's actually change this up, and we're going to test this by switching over to GPT-5-High-Fast. I'm going to say, search the internet to learn what the required schema is for the description. As you can see, the description is still not generating successfully. So please review the existing logic of this. Search the internet in the OpenAI documentation to learn what is needed for us to generate the description for this agent, and then properly update the code to integrate the update. All right, so I'm going to then copy and paste. So the length was 0. If you see at the end of that, the length is 0. So that's obviously the issue. Length is 0 characters. So it's succeeding, but it's actually failing. So let's do that. So let's see. Maybe a GPT model can integrate with GPT a little better. Sorry for the long video, guys, but I want to finish this off because hey, we need to see, is GPT-5 better than Claude-4-Sonnet? And to be honest, I think it is. Whenever I'm using Cursor, I'm mainly using GPT-5 models now. One reason is for the cost. It is a lot less expensive. It did search the internet here. You can see. So it looks like, look at this. So it says response created max output token. So it used 4.0 mini for that search, which is interesting. Oh no, it searched up 4.0 mini. Interesting. But yeah, let's go to like OpenAI pricing. And let's also go to Anthropic pricing. And model pricing. So Claude Instant, Claude V1. That's not great. That's not the actual pricing. So pricing, API pricing. So for Claude, you can see input $15 for 1 million tokens of 4.1, $75 for output on 4.1. That makes it like you shouldn't even use it. You should not be using Opus 4.1 unless you're like a billionaire. Sonnet 4 is much better, $3 million per million, $6 per million output. Let's check out what the OpenAI pricing is. It's the community OpenAI pricing. Okay, so GPT-5, that's just insane. $1, so it's essentially a third of the cost. That's insane. But the question is like for the different high models, you have Nano, Mini, and then 5. I wonder what that actually equates to in Cursor. Like, is Nano GPT-5 low? You're just the normal GPT-5. Like, what is GPT-5? Is that, or I guess that's Cursor's own way of adding more context or something like that. But definitely something to note. Okay, so let's go back over here. See if we can get this description logic working. Come on. Let's go. So it says, I'll update the OpenAI calls to use the responses API with response format text and add a guard in the agent service to handle empty descriptions, then run a lint check. Okay. Let's hope that it gets it. Error here. A little refresh. All right. So let's see what it changed. So primary model ID. Okay. All right, so let's test this. Run the agent. So now we use GPT-5 Does GPT-5 one shot? Is that the question? I think this is a good test, guys. We'll see. Still not a lot of consistency in the image generation. We're not going to worry about it in this video, but we will work on that in tomorrow's stream probably. We're going to be streaming Saturday and Sunday at around starting at 10 a.m. So here's step 3. Another image. Oh, that one failed. And then the description failed again. Yeah, come on. Yeah. So I think something that we should do, just because this continues to fail, is something that I do is I go to GPT and I drop it in because it's able to access the internet a little bit better than Cursor does. The native ChatGPT tools are sometimes better than what we have. So I'm just going to drop in a bunch of context and figure out, hey, why is this happening? Pass all this in. This is what vibe coding used to be. It used to just be, yeah, it literally used to just be dropping stuff in, copying and pasting. So I have no problem with this. Here's our OpenAI controller. All right, drop that in. Why does creating the description fail? Please review the logic and identify the key cause of the error. And then please output the correct documentation to properly integrate with the OpenAI service for this. All right, so we're gonna need some documentation that'll be able to better process our request. I think that doing this is smart. So if you ever have problems like this where Cursor just seems to not be understanding, like, hey, you know, why is Cursor not knowing what the schema is for the request? Why is it generating 400 errors? Well, sometimes Cursor isn't going to have access to that information. So the best thing to do is to go over to ChatGPT here, and you can see here that it goes directly to the OpenAI platform logs and then looking at a bunch. So, I mean, you can see what it searched here. If we look at what this found, I mean, yeah, look at the difference of that. So here, the native search functionality in Cursor is not very good. So something to note, because here it hit this page. Let's see what link it looked at. It hit this page. So it looked at the documentation here. It looked at the documentation there. So it said, what's breaking? With chat completion style field in a deprecated parameter. Okay. Okay. So now I'm gonna give this into the chat. This is what ChatGPT said to do. Please follow its instructions. Okay. So we use ChatGPT thinking, GPT-5 thinking to supercharge our Cursor logic there. Let's see here. All right, I think that this is gonna work. All right, OpenAI service updating. All right, updated our parameters so you can see what changed here. Maxed output tokens, instructions. Okay, so let's run this. Cross your fingers, guys. So, you know, when you're vibe coding, it's all about what workflow you have. You know, vibe coding is less about understanding syntax and understanding code, and it's more about understanding workflows. So GPT-5 is smarter than I am at programming, and I'm gonna just say that. You know, it's smarter. I'm a technical guy. I know what's going on, but in terms of, you know, all the knowledge that it has on, for example, you know, what schema I need to use, it's smarter than me. So let's see if this works. Come on. Let's go. I like that it's taken some time. Hopefully it's creating a description. Failed again. All right. Why did it fail again? Use this. We're not going to give up. This video is getting long, but I'm the type of person that when I fail, I just got to keep going. I'm sorry, guys. I'm going to say this is how Cursor updated the code. Why did it fail again? All right. You know, it's interesting because the strategy that I just used was essentially to drop in the code as reference and then to also share with ChatGPT what Cursor said about its output. And that really is the future of agentic coding, is going to be that these AI models are going to essentially be able to talk to each other. So I hope that they get that working here soon. All right. Searching for open node SDK response examples. Okay. All right, so it said you fixed the parameter shape, but your code still returns empty completion for two common reasons. You only need response output text. Okay, isn't enabled if your account is returning a non-text the calls, it can succeed, but you'll not. Okay. Okay. Just copy and paste this in. All right, there we go. So we're using ChatGPT as error analysis and better internet search and review, and then we're then inputting that information back into Cursor. We're going to get this soon, guys. I can feel it. Okay. All right, updates are coming in. And this is really just MVP functionality. I want to get this working initially, and then on stream this weekend, we'll be polishing this stuff up. So if you're free this weekend, you want to watch us continue to make more progress on View Creator, feel free to tune in. I'm going to be streaming about 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, start time. Okay, so it said I'm going to open the current OpenAI service file to adjust the responses API calls per your guidance, add a robust extractor that falls back to response output context text, set text, format plain, switch fallback model to 4.0, and add a debug logging on failures. Okay. All right. There's our update. It switched it to 4.0, primary model ID, fallback model ID. Okay. So we are using GPT-5 as the primary model. All right. Let's see here. And then here, updated to add a couple things. All right. So now refresh this. Let's run. All right, come on. Let's go. Nothing's ever easy, guys. I'll tell you what. Nothing is ever easy. This one's better. Believe in the journey. I believe in the journey. I believe in what we're doing. Do you? Do you believe in what you're doing? Do you believe in your journey? They got to fix that spelling issue natively. You know, you should not be having spelling issues. Oh, man. Description fail again. All right. All right, we're gonna blow this up. The description is still failing to generate. I want you to think deeply and completely rebuild the logic. Connection unstable. On Whisper here. All right. Open history. All right, pass this in. Guys, just can't give up no matter what. Can't stop. I was expecting this to take like 30 minutes. Coming up on an hour. That's all right. Okay. All right, platform tools. So yeah, so we have a bunch of tools that we're going to be generating over the next couple days. I'm really excited for our title generator. That one's going to be cool. The description generator is going to be really helpful. So for this one, essentially what I want people to be able to do is to upload like a, well, actually, I want to create a, first it's going to be like a transcript generator. So I want to be able to pass in like an MP4 video and have it generate a transcript. That feature is going to be big. I'm excited for that. Okay. All right. Here we go again. Is this not the you know, if you're into programming, this is the typical sometimes you get it quickly, sometimes you don't. All right. All right, come on. All right, go back to agents. Motivational slideshow creator. Let's go. All right, so it replaced text format plain with the correct object form text, type text, both generate title and generate description. Okay. Okay. The hardest climbs lead to the best views. That's very true. Okay. Come on. Okay. All right, we're at an hour, guys. We're coming up on an hour. I mean, I just don't understand why this should be such an easy feature, I feel like, to build. Something got messed up here. Okay. All right, so it seems like the issue is with this fallback model. We're using GPT-5 and then it falls back to 4.0. Okay. All right, let's do Claude-4-Sonnet. Let's test it again, see what it kicks off. Okay. Guys. All right. Change the model. Grok-4. I have been working on the create description logic for a while now, and it continues to fail. The integration with OpenAI continues to fail, and it seems like my current and existing implementation is errored. Please review the code in depth and review OpenAI documentation and figure out why this continues to fail and completely rebuild our logic, not in a way that keeps our existing code intact, rather a way that will actually get this feature working. Please review all the code, all the functionality, find the bugs, and then rewrite the code to actually get this create description functionality working. All right. Elon Musk with the Hail Mary. This is literally a Hail Mary Elon Musk. Just dropped back in the pocket, wind it up, and I threw like a 50-yard ball. Elon Musk, he's running down the field. He, he's been working on Grok. He's been training a lot. Apparently AGI is coming out with Grok-5, but we'll see. I don't know. They always say it's AGI, right? All right. Speaking of which, while this is going, let's check out the AI arena. See where we're at on some of these models. Where's the leaderboard here? Right now. All right. So right now, the best web dev model is GPT-5 In second place is Claude 4.1 Thinking. Third place, Claude Opus 4.1. Fourth, Gemini 2.5. I've heard a lot of good things about GLM 4.5. Very, why did they call the Stripe documentation? Oh my gosh. About to build a Stripe service. Is there an OpenAI MCP? That's a good question. Is there an OpenAI? All right. Big updates here from good old Elon. All right. Elon just got a Hail Mary. Is he gonna fumble? Don't fumble, Elon. Believe, begin, become. It's a good one. Something to note, the background is consistent, but the prompt, because it was such a not a great prompt, oh gosh, Elon fumbled again. It is still failing. I want you to completely use a different model. Use GPT-4o Mini for creating the description. Review documentation before you integrate your update. Obviously, this is not working, so you need to completely rebuild the functionality using GPT-4o Mini to get this working. I want you to output the documentation on integrating with the GPT-4o mini OpenAI model through its API. All right. Do the documentation through chat, pass it into Grok-4. All right. Oh, wait. Did that not? Let's see. All right. One nice thing about Whisper Flow is it remembers everything you've ever said. Go here. All right. Come on. Let's go. I feel like I need some music at this point. Going for over an hour now. Look at this. Look what this is called. It's vibe coding focus music to stay locked in and in the zone. Well, that's what we need. All right, run again. Come on. There we go. We did it. Oh my gosh. Oh. Thank goodness. All right, guys, we did it. It works. It works. You know what I'm gonna do is in this YouTube video, I'm gonna like make a chapter that like you guys are gonna see the raw pain that I just went through, but I'll make a chapter where it say it works or something like that. All right, well, we did get it working. The description: embrace each moment as a step toward your dreams, and that does follow what we did. Let the images guide you through a journey of resilience and growth, reminding you that every small effort counts. Together, let's ignite the fire within and turn aspirations into achievements. Your story is just beginning. Motivation Monday, inspire your journey. Well, it's not Monday, it's Friday, but it's all good. We'll improve it. But guys, thanks for watching. This is definitely a step in the right direction. That took longer than I was expecting, if I'm being completely honest. But sometimes that happens, and that's okay. Sometimes things don't go the way that you expected them, and you just have to stay resilient, keep your head in the game, and be okay with just continuing to throw everything that you have at a problem until you get what you want. I could have stopped 20 minutes ago and said, guys, I just am going to give up, but I don't give up. So with that being said, I'm going to be live tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to be back at it, grinding on View Creator. We're going to be launching it soon. So thanks for tuning in, guys, and I'll see you tomorrow.